If you're an independent musician that plays in a rock band and you have access to a computer, a guitar, a microphone, and a killer song idea, I have something that's going to get you a professional sounding demo within minutes. Before I get into that, let me introduce myself. My name is Vince Soliveri. I am a producer, mixer, engineer. I've been recording bands for over 10 years. I've worked with bands such as the Dirty Nil, Drew Thompson Foundation, Terminator, Respire, Red Hill Valleys, and countless others. I am the host of the Build Your Own Band podcast. I work with a ton of artists that write awesome songs, but they don't have the technical know-how of how to craft an awesome sounding demo that accurately communicates their song idea. If this sounds like you, I have the perfect solution. What I've created is called the demo template. Like I said before, if you have access to a computer, an interface, a microphone, a guitar that you can plug into your interface and you can simply just hit record, I've created something that's going to get you a professional sounding demo within minutes. The demo template that I've created is essentially a songwriting template that you can open up in the DAW of your choice and basically just click record and get awesome sounds right off the bat. It is not a mix template per se, but it is a template that I have mixed for you. So if you play in a rock band that has hard-hitting drums, aggressive distorted guitars, and loud vocals, these templates are mix ready for you to just record your ideas into and hear a professional sounding demo come out of your speakers. Momentarily, I will dive into one of these templates to kind of show you around, but essentially I've created 5 separate templates for 5 separate DAWs. So if you use one of these DAWs, you can download this now. The demo template is currently available for Pro Tools, Logic, Ableton, Reaper, and even GarageBand. Full disclosure, there's an asterisk beside GarageBand because that one is a little bit more limited compared to the rest, but all 5 of these demo templates are built exactly the same. I've built these demo templates with stock and free plugins, so you don't have to spend a penny to get started right away. Because I'm using stock plugins for each individual DAW, mileage may vary, but ultimately, all of these demos sound great. If you're at all concerned or curious about the quality of the demos you'll get using this template, the song you heard at the beginning of this video was made using this very template. As a producer, mixer, and engineer with under a decade of experience under my belt, I cannot stress enough how important demoing your song is. In my opinion, demoing is a crucial part of the songwriting process. Whether you're a solo artist or you play in a band, hearing your song back to you will reveal things about your song that you may never recognize otherwise. Is your song too fast? Is your song too slow? Do you need to add more instrumentation? Do you have to take away more instrumentation? Is your song too long? When you're jamming with your buddies down in your jam space, sometimes these things never occur to you. But when you sit down and demo your song and you listen to it back, it can reveal things about your song that you may have never considered. It is super common practice for bands to go through rounds and rounds of demoing because they know that every time they demo their song, they're going to figure out things about the song that they can improve. And if you're in a rock band with loud guitars and bashing drums and you're playing your acoustic guitar into your iPhone, trying to get your song idea across to your bandmates, it doesn't translate very well. So when you have access to something like the demo template in which you can demo your song and have a professional sounding demo by the end of the process, this can be wildly helpful to not only your songwriting process, but also showing people what your band has in store. It takes time to prep for a professional recording session, and it takes a lot of money to actually carry out those sessions. So until you budget and find the time to make your record, having an awesome sounding demo of your own song can go a long way. You can share it with your friends, you can share it even with local promoters to get a little bit of buzz about your band and give people an accurate representation of what you sound like. And even if you're in a band on a larger level, if you have a great sounding demo, that goes a long way if you're talking to labels and managers who are interested in working with your band. The quality standard of today is super high. So if you have a great sounding demo that can compete with that standard, you are miles ahead of other bands. So let me show you what this demo template is all about. So I'm in the Pro Tools version of the demo template right now, but essentially all 5 of these templates are laid out exactly the same. Before we dive into the ins and outs, let me just play and you can hear how it sounds. So there's a little snippet of what the demo template sounds like. Like I said, mileage may vary depending on the DAW that you're using, but they're all mixed to sound more or less like this. So like I mentioned before, I am using stock and free plugins for this demo template. So you can more or less just open the session and get to work. However, there are 2 third-party plugins that I am using for this template that you will need to download to use, but they are free and they're very quick to download. The first one being SSD 5.5, the free version from Steven Slate Drums. I chose this plugin for a couple of reasons. 1, it's free, and 2, it sounds awesome. The other free third-party plugin that I'm using for this demo template is the Guitar Rig 7 player from Native Instruments. Once again, this is free and this is an awesome amp sim for rock guitars. But as we can see in the session, all of the mixing is done for you. I've essentially mixed an entire song using these free plugins in which you can just plug in your guitar or bass and record on one of these tracks and just start playing. I've chosen to build this template around programmed drums because not everybody has access to a space in which you can record live drums, nor is it that easy from a technical standpoint. And once again, this is a songwriting template. It's not a recording template. It's not a mix template. It's for you to get your ideas out into the world as quickly as possible. So if we switch back into Pro Tools, what we're starting with is the drums. And once again, the basis of the drums is SSD 5 from Steven Slate Drums. Once again, a free plugin. And these drums are routed into separate tracks. These separate tracks can be seen here. I've pared down each drum to its own track. So your kick in, your kick out, your snare top, your snare bottom are all pared down to one track for the ease of simplicity. I've also set up some parallel effects routing to get it sounding as best as possible. Let's listen to the drums on their own. For a free plugin, these drums sound awesome. I'm not going to get into the plugins that I use to mix the drums because once again, this is a songwriting template. You shouldn't have to worry about compressor settings and EQ settings and levels. You simply just program your drums, you record your instruments, you record your vocals, and you get a professional sounding demo almost immediately. If you've never programmed drums before, I can leave a couple of links and resources in the description for you to learn how to best program drums to make them sound realistic. Spoiler alert, it's all about velocity. No drummer hits at 100% velocity 100% of the time, so if you program in little variances within the velocity, it'll sound realistic. Secondly, we'll move to bass. I will clarify up front that all of the guitars and basses in this demo template are using amp sims, so you just need to record DIs. No fussing with microphones, no fussing with real amplifiers, just plug your instrument into the interface and go. This is what the bass sounds like. As you can hear, it's a pretty aggressive bass tone, and if you like the sound of that and you want to understand why it sounds the way it does, let me tell you 2 things. Fender P-Bass, fresh strings. Guitars are very similar, and this is where the Guitar Rig 7 free plugin comes in, because I think this is one of the best free amp sims that you can get your hands on. For a free amp sim, it's awesome. And you'll see in the template that there are a lot of stacks of guitars. And the reason for that is that each one has a slightly different tone and a slightly different purpose. This first stereo pair of guitars is just a straight up distorted rhythm tone. Its main purpose is to be the general guitar tone for the song. The second pair of stereo guitars is more or less the same tone, but the main purpose for the second set of stereo guitars is for overdubs and embellishments to elevate your part. So for example, in this intro, we have an octave part that goes on top of the rhythm guitars that sounds like this. And when played together, it sounds like this. So when you're creating your song, you have the option to layer guitars and get big sounds just like this. This is a very common rock guitar production strategy, so do not be afraid to use all the layers provided for you. The third set of stereo guitars is a lower gain distortion tone that is great for verses or palm muting or something just a little less brash than the main guitar tone featured before. We'll take a listen. That one's pretty simple, just a mid-gain tone for you to kind of chug along. I also provided a track for lead guitars in which I also made stereo because I like hearing things wide, but you're welcome to use this in mono. This one has a splash of reverb so it can sit on top of your heavy rhythm guitars and be heard with clarity. Let's take a listen. And the last guitar layer is a fuzz guitar that I love to use on choruses to make those main rhythm guitars sound even larger for those heavy parts. And if we pair that with the main rhythm guitars, you can hear the weight added behind. Below that is the vocals, and you can see there are a ton of vocal stacks here, and it can look pretty overwhelming, but it's actually pretty simple. Let me explain. The first 4 tracks up here are effects tracks. I'll go into that in a little bit and you'll see how they're used. I split the vocal tracks up into sections, so I have a verse vocal and a chorus vocal. I like doubled vocals, so I've given you the option to have a vocal double. Usually a vocal double is tucked behind the main vocal, so it just adds a little bit of thickness and not necessarily as something that you can hear. These blank tracks below are just additional verse vocals for you to use in the event that your lyrics overlap in certain sections. This big vocal stack is the chorus vocal. Once again, I love hearing things in stereo. I love width. So I've given you 5 tracks to play around with in your vocal. The first track in the chorus vocals is just the main vocal, the one right up front and center. Below that are stereo doubles, 1 pan hard left, 1 pan hard right. Once again, this is here to add width and thickness to the main vocal sound, not necessarily to be heard on its own. And below that, we have stereo harmonies. If you've ever heard a big chorus that sounds awesome, it's likely that it is stacked with harmonies, so do not overlook these tracks. And below that is a pair of screams. If you like heavy music like I do, you're going to need tracks with heavy compression to compensate for those screams. Let me show you the sound of that main chorus vocal stack.
Build your own band! Build your own band!
That's me singing, and I'm not a singer, so please be gentle with me. It is not the best performance in the world. And back up to the top of the vocal, we'll talk about the effects tracks. Essentially, these are just effects throw tracks. And what a throw track is just an effect track in which you can put a single line or a single syllable that will trigger an effect to create some sort of special vocal moment. If you're unsure what this sounds like, let me play you an example.
So you play in a band!
So as you can see, this top track is a delay throw. So I put a small snippet of the verse vocal onto the throw track just to create a delay on a specific word.
Bam!
Similar to that, I created a reverb throw to accentuate the last word of the verse. There's a second delay throw that has a different style of delay on it. And lastly, this vocal effects track that kind of has like a lo-fi telephone sound to it, that for this song is just to accentuate little grunts that I'm doing for effect. And for the little production ear candy, if you want to go down that rabbit hole, is at the bottom of the session. The first thing that you'll see is a piano track. This is simply here to accentuate the guitar in the intro. Take a listen. There's also a synth track here that is currently empty, but you're free to utilize if you want some sort of electronic sound. Below that, I have a folder for percussion. I have 2 tambourine tracks and a shaker track. One tambourine track is for a slower tempo, and the other tambourine track is for a faster tempo. Verses. And there's also a blank shaker track if you want to add that element to your mix. And last, but certainly not least, are the effects tracks. These are just big swells and booms and just kind of explosive sounds that I've added to this song for extra intensity. You'll hear them going into the final chorus. If you want to hear that all in context, the climax of the song is in this outro section. And that's more or less the demo template. Once again, it's a songwriting template. It's not meant for you to have to tinker around with plugins and get levels and worry about mixing when you're just trying to write and arrange your song. So if this is something that you feel would be helpful to you, you can download this right now. There's a link in the description. You can go to vincesoliveri.com/template and download this immediately. Once again, this template is available for Pro Tools, Logic, Ableton, Reaper, and GarageBand. I've included the multi-tracks for this song in those downloads. Those raw multi-tracks are worth checking out just so when you're recording your demo, you can match the level on your interface to the ones that I've recorded so the plugins sound as best as they can. I can't stress enough the importance of demoing. It should be a crucial step in your songwriting technique, and it's amazing to show your bandmates a fully realized version of your song. And when you have an incredible sounding demo of your song, it is so much easier to get the attraction of local promoters, other bands that you want to play with, and even potentially labels and managers down the line. So please download the demo template and start demoing your song today. Once again, my name is Vince Soliveri. I'm a producer, mixer, engineer. I'm the host of the Build Your Own Band podcast. The song that you just heard is the intro song for that podcast, so please go check it out. Subscribe to this YouTube channel, leave a comment, like the video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one.